Good morning and welcome back to the Emporium. It's Thursday, September 23rd. Today marks part two of the Dollar Tree Wave for September. Uh, got a bit of a variety in this video this morning. It's a total of 28 titles. Um, I got more on the way. I just don't know when I'm going to shoot the rest of the videos in the coming week because I'm not sure what my wife's schedule is yet because it's been kind of screwy at our place of business. Being a deli manager, they're short staffed, and I really don't know when I'm shooting videos half the time. It's just been kind of really bad with COVID. There's like hardly any workforce that want to apply for a deli job or anything like that. Let's get started this morning. It's about the movies, not about my personal life. Uh, let's get started. Right off the top here, I've got a movie starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Scarlett Johansson, and Julianne Moore. It's written and directed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt himself. They're calling it sexy, hilarious, and edgy. It's Don John. It's a relativity release, along with I can't really make out what it says. It says physical media something. I can't really make it out because it's really little writing. Widescreen presented from 2013. 90 minutes on this. And they say it's a dual layer. It does have come with a special feature of a hit record short. Really don't know what this one much is about. I don't know if it's. It just kind of looks very unique. I don't know. Anyways, it's Don John. Pretty interesting cast here on this one. And that was also it was rated R and like I said, widescreen presented with a 240 by 1 aspect ratio. On to the next one. I got a movie starring Alan Payne, Jada Pinkett, Bokeem Woodbine, Anthony Treach Chris, Eddie Griffin, and Forrest Whitaker. A Doug McHenry film. It's called Jason's Lyric. Love is Courage. Saying an MGM release. It's saying it was out in 1994 through Orion Pictures as well. 2 hours on this one. It's rated R. They're saying it's classic and powerful romance with wonderful performances. Basically, this movie is from the producers of New Jack City. Kind of go from there, but more of a love interest twist, that kind of thing, I guess. But didn't have it, so I picked it up. Let's look at the back. I remember when this came out, this had a lot of uh, high accolade praise when it came out. Doesn't seem like it was back. It was out back in 1994, which is quite a while ago now. And I was really shocked to see this in the wave for September. A movie starring Joe Pesci, 8 heads in a duffel bag. Get ready for cutthroat comedy. I used to see this all the time on HBO or Cinemax's Summer of a Thousand Movies. I think I might have watched it back in the day, but I don't really remember too much about it. They're saying it's an MGM Orion release. Clocks in at an hour and 35 minutes, and it's from '97. It's just kind of interesting in this wave, like these random ones that actually were backed by a studio. How they're showing up in September's wave. Like later on, I'll show. I don't know if it's in this video, but I did pick up a John Candy Canadian Bacon, which was really rare to see too. They're also saying it's a ranked film distributor, calling it extremely funny. The producers who brought you Dumb and Dumber star Joe Pesci, Christy Swanson, David Spade. They're calling it a deliciously dark and wild, hilarious ride, black comedy that will leave you rolling with laughter. So that's it. Heads in a duffel bag. I couldn't resist. Really standoutish name anyway, as it is. I want to say this might have been based on maybe a Broadway presentation or on like like a Tony Award kind of. I want to say it was actually there was a play to this or something. Something I remember hearing something about eight heads in a duffel bag being part of it. Like I said, I just this was in this wave too. John Candy and Canadian Bacon. MGM, hour and 35 minutes from 1995. A determinedly wacky comedy. Candy is as usual lovable, says Entertainment Weekly. Writer director Michael Moore, Roger and Me serves up a delightfully ludicrous political send-up brimming with madcap hilarity and side-splitting slapstick, starring legendary John Candy, our legendary funny man John Candy, as well as Rhea Perlman, former Mrs. Danny DeVito, Alan Alda, we all know him from MASH, Kevin Pollak, Rip Torn, and Stephen Wright. They're calling it a funny acidic satire. This is Variety. So, really good pickup considering the passing of John Candy. I'm glad to have, something of his in the collection to add to as well. That's Canadian Bacon. One more look at the front. Very standout-ish cover, if I do say so myself. On to the next one. Volume 6, Digital Digimon Monsters. The official second season, Volume 6. It's a 3 DVD set. And I opened it because I thought it was loose, but it has these little flaps on here. One disc there, and a disc there. And you get this all for $1. I mean, you can't beat that. I didn't even see that. How'd that happen? I need to take that slip off. Man. Hate that when that happens. Somebody's house, somehow it got folded over. I don't see the little corner of the crease right there. I don't know how that happened. It was sealed. Kind of random. Find that this morning. Sorry about that. But if I didn't do something with it now, later on it'd probably be creased so bad that you wouldn't even be able to. It wouldn't even be part of the cover. Boy, that kind of irks me though. I mean, you would have thought somebody, when they were putting the plastic over it, they would have noticed that you would have looked it over from head to toe before you sealed it. The things you notice when you go to video, I didn't even notice that, to be honest with you, when I had opened it, because I thought it was running free. Turns out it wasn't. It was just the flappy door thingies that I like to specify. That's volume 6 though. Back. Not complaining, it's just little things like that bother my OCD. I don't know if you know what that would be like, but I got a movie starring Romana Layla, Robert Davi, Damian Chapa, and Danny Trejo. Pistolera. I don't know if I ever got this, but I couldn't resist. This is an Echo Bridge and SP release. 84 minutes on this one. Trying to see if there's anything else I can tell you about it. Basically, I guess it's about Latin American mobsters in this one. They put a hit on an entire family. Apparently, the only one that survives, I guess, is a girl named Angel. And then once she grows up, she becomes a contract killer. So, I guess her death of her family kind of brought out her best or her worst, however you want to say it. But that looks pretty interesting. 185 by 1, clocks in at 84 minutes, and it's English, so you don't have to worry about it being non-English. That's your thing. And then I picked up Being Human Season 3 from the BBC. It's a 3-disc set. I'm not going to open it because it's still sealed. We got one of these in the past wave. We actually got two. I give one away in a trade. Not this particular. I don't know if it's this particular season. I don't think it was, but they had given these at the Dollar Tree out in the wave, and we had gotten one home, and we never. I don't know how we didn't notice it, but the entire back side of it was mangled. I don't know if we just didn't. We were too enamored that Being Human was at the Dollar Tree to not really notice the ripping and stuff on the art. But we got it home, and it looked like it got caught on fire or something, because the plastic was all melted on it. Yeah, it's just like really weird. My wife picked it up at the store, and I can't believe she didn't, notice that. Basically, if you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, kind of like in the mode a little bit of Twilight, a little bit with the kind of like, they're not really vicious vampires, really. I mean, it is, but they're not like, they don't take it to the next level, I don't think, with this show, because there's like comedic stuff in here as well. Not knocking on it. I just wish they'd make a show that was more like, like more dark-like or whatever. Like kind of like more like Blade the series. I wish it was more like in that vein. Like a little bit more on the darker side. But this was a really good show. It has extended cast interviews, deleted scenes, and Sinead's set tour as well. 3 DVDs, as I mentioned, almost 500 minutes on this one. 16 by 9 enhanced on this. And that's season 3, I think I said. Yeah, season 3. 3-disc set. Don't pay any attention to that. We have a ring, and it's been going off this morning because we're getting really kind of like stronger winds, and every time a tree flops back and forth, I think it sees stuff because I've been looking out. Next up, I got a movie called Rocket Hunter, Mission to Stop World War II's Deadliest Rocket. It's from ITN Distributing. 81 minutes on this one, 178 by 1. I'm pretty sure it's probably not going to be that good of a war movie. Not because it's direct to video, but to me, you got to do these movies right. You got to give them a budget a little bit. From 2019, I just got a feeling it's going to be like maybe 5 guys in a scene, and we're supposed to believe it's like an army, and you might see a couple guys on the opposing side. I don't know. It's just like some of these war movies are hard to get into. When they're cheaper like that, just because I'm gonna have to turn that phone off for now. Sorry about that. But it's Rocket Hunter, and like I said, it's kind of hard to get into some of these direct-to-video ones because of the lack of budget and the actors maybe that they got in that. But that's a really interesting looking movie nonetheless. And then I got the Dalton Gang, from U.S. Marshals to Killer Outlaws. Same case could be said for these westerns that go to video too. They have very much a lot of trouble because you got the not top-notch acting, and the budget's not really there. Not that I'm knocking a small budget. I like a small budget film, but there's certain genres that you can work in your budget constraints versus other ones. Like, to me, westerns and wars, you really can't really give them the bona fide justice. I mean, there are some good ones that go direct to video too, but not like there would be, say, if they went to like a little bit limited release or whatever. Clocks in at 81 minutes. It's 178 by 1. And I guess it takes place in the early 1890s in this one. The Dalton Gang. Still, nonetheless, still happy to pick it up. Like I said, very much a different variety in this wave. And then I got a movie starring Zach Galifianakis, Vigneers. He's been in such movies as Part 2, well, the whole Hangover series, actually. And Due Date. They're calling it Office Space. Office Space meets Brazil in this offbeat comedy. They're calling it hilarious. I never heard of this one, and I'm really shocked that Zach Galifianakis has popped up on a Viva Pictures release. To be honest with you, I thought immediately when I saw this back, it's obviously a Viva, just because of their like design of their disc on the back are almost all the same. Even their their non-animated selections, their back cover has these little windows with the scenes in it, almost like a DVD menu or something. But it won like either won or it was not or nominated in different places like Seattle, Austin, Cine Vegas, Woodstock Film Festival, and AFI Film Festival. It was an official selection, so somebody must have really enjoyed this one to be selected that many times. But that's Vigneers with Zach Galifianakis. And then I got a movie called Covenant. They Hide in Plain Sight. Sorry about that. 239 by 1. It's 86 minutes. It's from High Octane Pictures. 5.1 and 2.0 stereo. Directed by Manuel da Silva. After receiving word of his estranged mother's ultimate passing, a reluctant former Army lieutenant must travel to a secluded town in the Pacific Northwest to unlock the mystery surrounding her suspicious death. Evil will show no mercy. I don't really know if this is really looks all that, is a horror film, because it doesn't really sound, it kind of sounds like dramatic with horror elements maybe in it mixed, kind of also kind of like apocalyptic kind of vibe to it to me as well. So I don't really know if it's straight on horror, because they do have a pretty good action line through High Octane. They're saying this from 2016, so I haven't heard much of this one or seen anything on it other than in this wave. Things you'll find in the Dollar Tree wave sometimes are amazing. This is the case here. I've never heard of that one or seen it or anything. And then back to kind of more mainstream stuff with Ryan Gosling, Emily Mortimer, Paul Schneider, Kelly Garner, and Patricia Clarkson. Lars and the Real Girl, a whimsical, funny, moving film. The search for true love begins outside the box. It's kind of a quirky movie. I have seen this. It was a while ago. One of the year's 10 best films. Sometimes you find love where you least expect it. Just ask Lars, a sweet but quirky guy who thinks he's found the girl of his dreams in a life-size doll named Bianca. Lars is completely content with his artificial girlfriend, but when he develops feelings for Margot, an attractive coworker, Lars finds himself lost in a hilariously unique love triangle, hoping to somehow discover the real meaning of true love. So he starts out liking this life-size doll named Bianca, and then he kind of is torn between an actual girl and his doll named Bianca. So I did see this. It's just been a while. I thought this is the direction it was going in, but I don't know. It's just sometimes when you haven't seen a movie in a while, and plus I seen it when I was younger. I probably don't. When I was younger, I didn't really follow movies as closely as I do now. I just pay a lot more attention to stuff than I did back in the day. I thought that's Lars and the Real Girl. Then we'll flip over to a horror film here. Fear has found a home. It's called The Cabin. High octane release. 87 minutes. English 2.0 and 5.1. Indie horror at its very best. A relationship troubles take a backseat to terror when a young couple's retreat to the family cabin turns into a living nightmare as a vicious sociopath drags him into an involuntary game of cat and mouse. That's The Cabin. Kind of get that Evil Dead feel with it just because it's called The Cabin. I mean, it isn't. I don't think it's anything like that, but when you think of the woods, you think of a cabin, you think of Evil Dead. This is the case here with this one, for example. Really like the cover on it. I don't know what you guys think of it. I think it's really cool. Really nicely packaged cover. That's The Cabin. Sticking with horror here, it's called Luigi Room. She was better off alone. Lady's possessed here on the floor. We got a couple of hands coming through the back wall there. ITN distributed title. 79 minutes. 178 by 1. Last night I watched Escape Room 2, Tournament of Champions. Pretty solid film. Although I will say I prefer the first Escape Room a little more. But this movie here is about an agoraphobic woman begins summoning spirits to her friends to be her friends while her brother is gone during the day. But the more time she spends with spirits, the more it becomes clear they aren't so friendly after all. I might watch this one tonight. I like the conjuring of spirits and the Ouija board and that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll watch this one tonight. I'm going to set this one off to the side. I'll debate it. I got a couple so far in this video that I'm considering maybe watching for tonight. But that's Ouija Room. I don't know much about this one. That's really cool. But I'm going to set that one off to the side. And maybe put The Cabin as an option too. I'll let my daughter pick which one I watch. Then I don't have that tough decision. We got a movie starring Joseph Fiennes, Alfred Molina, Jonathan Firth, Claire Cox, Sir Peter Ustinov. One Man's Faith in God launched the greatest revolution of all, a stirring, sweeping, epic film, says Chicago Sun-Times. I don't know if this has anything to do with the late, great Roger Ebert. I know they've kept his reviewing going in his honor. I think it's like RogerEbert.com or something. Like somebody reviews in his place, but they still implement his name in the review. It's from 2003, 2 hours and 4 minutes, PG-13, from MGM, directed by Eric Till. Says Joseph Fiennes stars as Martin Luther, the brilliant man of God whose defiant actions changed the world in this epic, ravishingly beautiful film that traces Luther's extraordinary and exhilarating quest for the people's liberation. I have heard of Luther, but I'm not sure, what, not like heard of this Luther, but I've heard of the biblical, character, if you will. I have heard of him. Really don't know much about this, though. I have heard of Ralph Fiennes, or Joseph Fiennes, I mean. I have heard of him, though. And then I don't know if this is a musical or what it is, but it's a movie starring Liza Minnelli and Robert De Niro, a Martin Scorsese film. It's called New York, New York. A celebration of the considerable talents of Liza Minnelli and Robert De Niro, says Roger Ebert. Had to pick this up just for that cast alone. MGM, rated PG. Yeah, they're calling it a musical masterpiece celebrating the glorious days of the big band era and the Big Apple. I guess Robert De Niro is a saxophonist in this, on his way to stardom, while Francine is a wannabe starlet who dreams of singing in the spotlight. Apparently, they meet up from there, and I don't know if they're a couple after that, or kind of have a thing for each other. But basically, Liza Minnelli and Robert De Niro. I didn't know Robert De Niro ever played in anything like this. I've heard of New York, New York, but I had no idea Robert De Niro would have played in one with Liza Minnelli. Pretty solid pickup. And then I got a movie starring Owen Wilson, Woody Harrelson, Amy Poehler. I saw this one in the theaters around the Thanksgiving time when it came out. A laugh riot and high frying fun, says Pete Hammond from Movie Line. It's Freebirds from Relativity and Real Effects. Rated PG from 2013. Dual air release. Widescreen presented with a 185 by 1 ratio. Pretty much, if you know about the Pilgrims and the Indians and of that nature, it's pretty much by the end that's what the message they more or less implore in this movie. It's more or less just how the turkey became a part of the dinner table at Thanksgiving, more or less, with some shenanigans along the way with the turkeys and that kind of thing. It's pretty, paint by numbers kind of animated story, but still had fun with it though. I really liked this one. This one I did see. I also seen this one in the theater. I remember the trailer selling me on it right from the get go. They're calling it from the writer, or well, not calling it, but it's from the writers of The Hangover, 21 and over. I remember this Asian actor doing this robot dance on top of the car in the trailer, and the minute I saw that, I was sold on it. Every time me and my son would see it, like if we'd rewatch it, we'd always laugh our heads off because it was just so funny watching this drunk or this high kid get like down with it and then doing the robot on top of a car and acting really stupid. It's a really funny movie, I think. I mean, it might not be for everybody, but I really loved it. It's a really fun college party type movie. Tower of Power, levels of intoxication, and a gag reel are its special features on this one. Dual layer from 2013 clocks in at 93 minutes and has a 240 by 1 aspect ratio. Pretty much, if you like college films and drunkenness and that kind of thing, kind of like a little bit like a cheaper or less known American Pie in a way. But that's 21 and over. Kind of like the way they used to do a lot of 80s comedy romps out of a college, that kind of thing. That's the vibe. That's the vibe you'll get from it. Obviously, it's not as good as a lot of the 80s college romp-based movies, but next up, I got a movie starring Samuel L. Jackson, Jessica Biel, Brian Presley, and Curtis Jackson. Filmed by Irwin Winkler. Home of the Brave. 2 thumbs up, says Ebert and Roper. Another MGM. Rated R. Clocks in at 106 minutes. From 2006. They're saying Samuel L. Jackson is excellent in this film. They're calling it a riveting and hard-hitting look at the lasting effects of combat upon the courageous Americans for whom the scars of war can never truly heal. AKA, basically, I guess it's the aftermath of like PTSD from their war in Iraq, I guess. I don't know, people are, their family or, like friends are killed on the battlefield, and their daily rigors of dealing with all the trauma and that kind of thing, and then they bring it home, I guess. I don't know. I guess that might be what it stands for, Home of the Brave, maybe. It's, like I said, it was directed by Irwin Winkler. No idea if that's any relation to Henry Winkler. I'm not sure. It might be. I don't know if he has a brother. But, that's Home of the Brave. And then I got a movie starring Kevin Costner and Octavia Spencer. Love Has No Color, Black or White. I think I might have watched this back when it first came out, but it's been so long. I'm a big Kevin Costner fan. Not that I'm not of Octavia Spencer, but it's just Kevin Costner's kind of always been, somebody I've gone to for things like Field of Dreams, Bull Durham. Was that one that he was with Clint Eastwood too? He's a kind of a bit of a gun runner on the run with a little boy. I can't remember. I've seen a lot of Kevin Costner stuff at the movies, but back probably give him a lot of support over the time. From 2014, just a hair over 2 hours. It's widescreen presented with a 240:1 ratio. It's rated PG-13, and it does have a couple of special features on this one. Nothing to write home about, but these kind of movies you don't really, more or less care about the special features because it's more about the, with these it's more about the drama and stuff than it is special features. More like popcorn, like films, or the fun summer ones are more like stuff that you look for in special features. Like the hero movies and stuff, like from Marvel, that kind of stuff you kind of look for features, but not typically from these kind of movies. I mean, it might be a little interesting to know a little bit of the backstory if this was based on a true story or whatever like that, but you really don't look for special features on like stuff that's like dramatic like that because it's really, they're overly long a lot of times. It's like over 2 hours. A lot of people can't sit. I mean, per se, an average person probably could sit through a 2 hour movie, but they get to clock in at that 2 hours plus. I feel like audiences get a little overkilled a little bit unless it's action packed throughout. But sometimes the dramatic ones are kind of long in the tooth, and they kind of cancel themselves out in a way. We got a movie called Nothing Man, No Name, No Future, and No Survivors. High octane, 77 minutes, 5.1 in a 2.0 stereo, 178:1 widescreen presentation. A lot of action adventure from High Octane. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew in past ones they've had action films, but this one kind of seems like more actionized than some of their other ones. It's directed by Stephen Gallagher. I don't know if he's having brutal nightmares from a long forgotten past. Frightened amnesiac has taken himself away from society, living life as a homeless man outside the hustle and bustle of the nearby town. He just wants to be left alone when his old friend Twink is murdered in cold blood. Noam sets out in search of justice and truth. This means he will have to dive into the cesspit he so desperately wants to be away from. So Nothing Man. Pretty interesting name for a movie. Kind of caught my eye. And then I got a DVD plus digital HD. Robin Wright stars in The Congress along with actors Harvey Keitel, Paul Giamatti, Danny Huston, and John Hamm. I couldn't remember if I grabbed this or not, but this is part of Cinedigm and DraftHouseFilms.com. It's not rated. 2013 on this one, 117 minutes, 235:1 aspect ratio. It has a whole slew of special features. It even has a 16-page booklet in this. So if you pick this up, it comes with it. Yeah, you can see it right. I don't know if you can see it through the side too good, but there's a booklet in there. Yeah, you see that white strip that goes down through the center there? I don't know if you can see it too good on camera, but it has a 16-page booklet, a theatrical trailer, promotional spot, and a digital download. So you're getting a lot with this just for $1. It's probably why it feels a little heavy. But that's The Congress. a few more here. Actually, I got like 6 more. We went back the other day, and my wife came away with like 3 or 4, but we had two or three out of the 4, so I took them back. I kept this one. This one stars George McKay, Emilio Jones, Sienna Glory. It's called Nuclear. It's from Echo Bridge and SP Releasing. 93 minutes on this one. 235 by 1 aspect ratio and a 5.1 stereo sound. Emma and her mother are on the run following an act of violence committed by her own brother. The two hide out in an isolated area near a nuclear power station. Emma meets a charismatic boy and begins to hang out with him, but her mother feels Emma is too traumatized by her past to interact. Emma breaks away from her mother and navigates the hostile setting alone, but finds her dangerous past is haunting her. I don't know if you've ever been near one of these nuclear devices here, but I've stood next to one when we did a field trip back in the day in high school. Man, they're really creepy and eerie to stand next to. You just think the worst, like what if that explodes? They're just really creepy to stand next to. Can't imagine what it was like when I was at 9 Mile Bay, I think it was, that the nuclear reactor went crazy. I don't know if it exploded. I want to say it might have. And that's basically right in my backyard, more or less. Just because it's nuclear power, it wouldn't take, generated explosion. It wouldn't take much for radiation to, get to where part of the world where I live. And it does show one of these. It looks like one of them exploded. Maybe not. Yeah. It looks really interesting, but kind of eerily creepy at the same time. Just because, these things are so dated, you don't know when they're gonna, if they're gonna blow, more or less. It's just kind of really eerie to look at one of those, especially if you've ever stood next to one. They look small in a picture, or not small, but smaller. But then when you get there, they're gigantic. But next I got a movie starring the late great Paul Walker, David Bell, and RZA, or Raza. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Filmed by Camille Delamere, Brick Mansions. Really happy to get this. From Canal Releasing, Relativity Pictures, along with Euro Core. Special feature of brick by brick creating the characters. We're calling it a gritty thrill ride packed with high flying parkour. Basically, parkour stunts are being done in this film. If you don't know what parkour is, it's like really high intense jumping and leaping over things. The wrestler, John Morrison from the WWE, he's really like a parkour enthusiast. It's basically how he's become such a great wrestler, I feel, is because he's such a good high flyer that these films look really good on film if the parkour is done really well. It's Brick Mansions. Looks really cool. I've never really seen that one. I have heard of it. I just think it was kind of forgotten about because, not knocking on Paul Walker, but anything outside of Fast and the Furious per se, usually his films were not huge box office. That's not a knock on him. It's just kind of just shows the popularity of the Fast and the Furious, how it's more mass appeal to say his other projects. And then I got Masterminds starring Zach Galifianakis, Owen Wilson, Christina Wig, and Jason Sudeikis. We're calling Zach Galifianakis the Pawn, Owen Wilson the Brains, Christina Wig the Bait, and they're calling Jason Sudeikis the Psycho. And I have seen this one as well. It's been a while. It's from Relativity Pictures, PG-13. 94 minutes. It's from 2016. Widescreen presented. Laugh out loud funny, says Andrew Rosenthal from New York Live. and that's Masterminds. Back. 3 more. I apologize about the length, but there are 28 titles in this video this morning. Movie starring Pierce Brosnan, Emma Thompson, Timothy Spall, Celia Emery. Love Punch, You Can't Pitch a Diamond Without Stealing a Few Hearts. A fun, feel-good, romantic caper, says Shirley Seeley from FilmJournal.com. They're calling it From Ketchup Entertainment, and I'm not kidding. Actually, the bottle of ketchup, the way it's spelled, not catsup, but ketchup. It's kind of funny in itself. Clocks in at 95 minutes. I was watching something on YouTube that apparently actor Pierce Brosnan is not a very likable actor in terms of like off screen. I hear he's very hard to work with. I don't know if that's true. I just was watching a video on like actors that are hard to work with or aren't very likable, and he made the list of not very likable, which is really I found very interesting because he always seems like a really cool dude to me. I don't know everything I've ever seen him in. He seems like somebody I would hit it off with in terms of like talking to, you know. It's from ketchupentertainment.com and Canal Plus. It's PG-13 if I didn't say. It does have a 5.1 Dolby Digital track. But, really surprised though to hear that he's not a very charismatic. He's charismatic on screen, but I guess he's non-charismatic when you meet him. I guess I don't, or at least from this person's perspective, I guess, or from what it's been based on him. I did hear he's not very likable off screen, so, or you know, on the set of a making of a movie, maybe. I don't know. I'm not gonna judge. I just thought I'd throw that out there because I thought it was really weird because he's played James Bond. You know, he's did a really good job in a horror film called The Lawnmower Man. I mean, he just never really, you know, he played in Remington Steele. I mean, you know, everything I ever seen him in, he's always been really, like, I don't know, just like really nice, you know, like really charismatic to me. But I don't know, I guess you find out a lot about the real person, you know, through film, I guess. I don't know. And I got a movie starring Simon Pegg, Tony Collette, Rosamund Pike, Stellan Skarsgård, Jean Reno, or is it Jean Reno? I'm not sure. And Christopher Plummer, because I do know he's a French actor. Hector in the Search for Happiness. Everyone wants to find it. Started Simon Pegg as Shaun of the Dead and Rosamund Pike from Gone Girl. Kind of interesting pairing there. Physical Media Distribution. I guess that's what it says. 240 by 1 widescreen presented. Rated R. Dual air manufactured. 2014. 114 minutes on this one. It does have like 3 or 4 special features. It's from the director of Serendipity, and based on the acclaimed novel comes this funny, imaginative film with an all-star cast, and obviously the cast that I read prior. It's directed by Peter Chelsom, and that's Hector and the Search for Happiness. The way it's written, I was trying to look into the camera to read it off there, because it's a little hard to remember. It's like a really long name for a movie. Hector and the Search for Happiness. It's not one of those ones that roll off the tongue. I mean, yeah, you could say it, but it's just kind of like one of those ones you could probably just say Search for Happiness, or, you know, it just seems like it's really kind of long for a name for a movie, at least to me. But very unforgettable with the cover there. And on my last one, I did see this one. This one gets a lot of hate. I kind of get it, but I really had fun with this one. Superstars Unleashed. It's called the movie 43. It stars Elizabeth Banks, Kristen Bell, Holly Berry, Kate Bosworth, Gerard Butler, Bobby Cannavale, Josh Duhamel, Anna Faris, Richard Gere, Terrence Howard, Hugh Jackman, Johnny Knoxville, Justin Long, Christopher Mintz Plasse, Chloe Grace Moretz, Leah Schreiber, Sean William Scott, Emma Stone, Naomi Watts, and Kate Winslet. I mean, just for that cast alone and the shenanigans they go through in this movie is worth picking up for $1 easily, in my opinion. They're calling it the year's most outrageous and daringly original comedy, featuring the ultimate star-studded cast that I mentioned prior. No inappropriate storyline is off limits, including a ballsy blind date. If you get the pun, ballsy blind date, middle school period piece, and more. Please don't sue us if you die laughing. And it says you've never seen anything quite like movie 43. My wife wanted to walk out of this one so many times at the time when we went and watched this. I'm sorry, but me and my son and my daughter all had fun with this. It was absurd. It's like you wouldn't believe this went to theater, like how over the top some of the stuff was in it. But I had a really fun time with movie 43. Some funny skits throughout the movie, some unbelievable stuff, to be honest with you. It's from I think it's saying it's from 2013. Clocks in at 94 minutes, and I'm kind of surprised it got away with a R rating at times in some of it. It almost could have come off NC-17 like. Widescreen presented, 178 by 1. And if it made rated R, it got R rating, it probably barely made it under that guideline. But like I say, this was a fun movie. I know a lot of people probably hate this damn thing. I think I got the Blu-ray of this already as well. But I had to pick up the DVD as well, just because I love this. I love to support this film, just because everybody kind of hated it. I like to be like one of them people that just because somebody hates stuff too makes me like it even more. I guess that's the case here. That's not the reason why I like it. I just think this movie overall was really funny. But that's my video for this morning, and that's all 28 titles that I'm showing. But I'm sorry about the length, but when you get 28 titles, you try to talk a little bit about each, or nearly all of them. But thank you for watching, and I hope you have a really good Thursday, and have a good weekend. I'm not sure if I'll be doing one this weekend, just because I notice YouTube, the viewership tends to be down on the weekend, sometimes like into Sunday, because like football's on now, and I don't know when I'm going to be doing a video, because I don't know my wife's schedule right off the top of my head. And I do know she has a lot of early mornings, and I don't like to do them when she has an early morning. Just kind of makes it kind of difficult to get things done as far as shooting doc, for videos and stuff, that kind of thing. But take care on your Thursday, and I'll see you again, guys. Keep that viewership coming. I really love that you watch the channel. Thank you, and have a good day, everybody. Bye.